Hey guys, Woods Farm. Just back out working on the Kubelwagen. Just got back from a trip into town. It's the farthest I've driven the Kubelwagen up until this point. Ran pretty good. Had it right up to around what felt like about 80 kilometers, fourth gear. Cruised into town about 15 clicks one way and then 15 clicks back. Car ran pretty good. However, there is, at higher speeds, you can definitely hear a hum. More than likely coming from this rear passenger side wheel. Usually that type of sound is more of a bearing issue, but I don't know, it could be the CV because coincidentally this is the side that has the rip CV, and this was on the tire side. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull it apart, clean it, inspect it, and then re-grease it, and I have a new boot to go on it. Now, if it looks like the CV is damaged, I'm just going to go ahead and put it back together as is, and I'll come back to that later and do the CV replacement. But for now, this is just a quick fix, and I'm going to keep an eye on it, and again, maybe a bearing might have to happen. Another thing I want to get working on, and I might not get to it today, but it needs to happen, is these intake manifold boots. When I originally tore the engine down a couple years ago, I should have replaced these, but they seemed okay. However, they have since deteriorated, probably from heat and exposure to fuel and whatnot, and they're just pretty much toast. This side particularly is definitely cracked, more than likely has a leak. So the engine's running okay, but I feel like I'm still having some issues tuning the carburetor and getting the idle speed just right, which could have something to do with that leak. Also, my spark plug fouling up issue could also have something to do with that. So despite the engine running okay, it certainly needs to be sorted out, and hopefully it actually improves the overall performance. Okay, so here's my CV joint boot. I got that CIP1.ca, and I've got some CV joint grease. I did talk to my mechanic after I bought this, and I guess you can use any thinner grease, not a thick grease. So got that. And then when it comes to split boot kit, Empi. Normally that rubber boot that goes over the two pieces of the intake manifold is just a solid piece, and you slip it over. That means you got to take the whole thing apart. I don't want to really do that now, so this is a quick fix. Of course it is split, but it has kind of like a channel there, and it may not be 100% airtight, but it's certainly going to be better than the cracked boot that I have on there now. Okay, so there's a retaining clip right here that I have to get off. Okay, this should just slide off now. Of course, it doesn't want to. Okay, so I just tapped on the lip there, and the boot came right off. And I just got to remember there's a little indent or a groove that goes all the way around. That is the side that faces the wheel, the tire side. I'm not 100% if it makes a difference, but I'm not going to risk it. So what needs to happen now is I'm going to clean this, and you can take this apart and there's a way to get it back together. I'm going to attempt to clean it without taking it apart, so I don't have to deal with that. Well, it's a lot cleaner, but I think really the only way to get it 100% clean is to take it apart. So unfortunately it's kind of a worst case scenario. It's quite worn. A lot of the bearings have pitting. It's really hard to see in this lighting, but I'm going to go with it for now. Not much else I can do. There's no foreign objects, you know, dirt, gravel in there at this point, so I'm just going to re-grease it, put it back together, and we'll just see how long it lasts. So it went back together without too much difficulty. I did use some grease on this part of the boot here to help slide it over. It's really tight at first, so that made it go a little easier. And then you just got to make sure that you line up this metal flange with the holes. Okay, that's it installed. I found it easier to install the upper side, the side attached to the transaxle first, and then do the wheel side. They're all torqued down to 25 foot-pounds. It's actually funny, a couple of them were loose. I want to say I hand tightened them last time and probably didn't go back to it, so I'm glad I got these torqued down to the right specs now. So I'm just going to take a quick second and see if I can replace this boot here. Okay, so that literally took like 5 minutes. Really simple. So I'm going to go ahead and just do the other side. It shouldn't be much more difficult to get in there. A little, maybe the clearance isn't as good because of the oil filler, but I don't think it'll be too hard. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this video up here. I've had the Kubel out for a couple of test drives. There's still a little bit of a hum coming from the rear passenger side tire. I don't know if it's a bearing or maybe that CV joint is just fried. just going to keep an eye on it. I'll come back to it, but at least the boot's fixed and there's not grease leaking out and there's not dirt and mud getting in. The CV joint did have some wear, so like I said, it probably have to be replaced down the road, but I'm not going to worry about it now. I've got bigger issues to worry about. Still got to figure out these brakes, and I don't know if I mentioned it before, but after I've been doing some test drives into town and back, the engine's running a little hot, so I'm going to start looking into that. Anyways, if you want to see more videos about Project Kubelwagen, like, subscribe. If you got any questions or comments, leave them below. And as always, thanks for watching.